child, because that's a very pure love, which puts the child's happiness and well-being before their own, the mother. So keeping that in mind, we're working at that. You know, that's when we really do drop the ego and really care about others beyond ourselves. So, there we have the person who is suffering. And then with the in-breath, we take in their suffering and the causes of their suffering, not just the obvious causes, but also the karmic causes and conditions which created this problem. We take it all in. And it goes down into the center of the heart. And if one likes, one can visualize like a black pearl, a black, you know, something dark shining here, representing our ego, our self-cherishing mind. Or you could think of it also as a very small black hole, because our ego is like a black hole. However much we give to ourselves, it's never enough. We always want more and more and more. So it's like this endless black hole which we're trying to fill up, but can never be filled, right? So visualize that at the center of our chest here. So this dark light goes down into that. And because the genuine desire to take on the sufferings of others with joy, out of our great compassion, destroys our ego-grasping mind, instantly, this darkness transforms into brilliant light like a diamond. This represents the true nature of the mind, our Buddha nature, Tathagata. The Tathagata, which is our true nature, and which is blocked because of our ego-grasping mind, doesn't allow us to see our true nature. Our true nature is absolutely wisdom and compassion. That's who we are. We're infinite wisdom, infinite compassion. It's all there, but it's blocked. So this practice unblocks, right? So then this dark light goes down into this little center of self-cherishing mind and destroys it and transforms it instantly into our true Buddha nature. And then with the out-breath, we breathe out this bright, white or golden light, which is the nature of our infinite wisdom, compassion, clarity, luminous mind, which is our true, pure awareness behind the coming and going of our ordinary conceptual egotistic thinking, right? So you get it? We breathe in the darkness, it hits the self-cherishing mind, which transforms into our true nature, our Buddha nature. And then on the out-breath goes this very bright light, and that goes straight to the object of our compassion. This is our loving kindness, right? This is the metta, or maitri. So first we have the karuna, the compassion bringing in the darkness, and then the loving kindness in the form of this very bright light going out and absorbing into the object of our compassion and completely filling every cell of their being. Every cell of their being is filled with light and luminosity, good health, happiness, joy, all the things we would wish for them. Okay, and then again, with the next breath, we bring in the darkness and we send out the light. The practice rides on the breath, right? Breathe in darkness, send out light. Now, many practitioners at the time of great sickness, or even as they're approaching death, many great lamas, when people ask them, what practices are you doing, Rinpoche? They usually say they are doing Guru Yoga and Tonglen. Because the other application of Tonglen comes when we ourselves are suffering. For example, we are sick, or we have some particular tragedy which has hit us in our lives. So then, instead of curling up within ourselves and feeling sorry for ourselves and just wishing we felt better and you know, completely turned in on our own suffering and pain, instead of that, we use it to open up to compassion for all the beings in this world who are suffering likewise. So, for example, I mean, just as an example, if I have a very bad headache, say, then instead of just feeling very bad because my head is thrumping and I'm feeling miserable, we can visualize that, again, we are drawing in throughout all the world, all the headaches of the world. Everybody who has a headache, may all that dark energy come to me. I will take their headache. I am happy to suffer my headache on behalf of all of these beings. So we sit there and we imagine that we're drawing in all the headaches in the world, and then from the abundance of our genuine Buddha healthiness, which completely transcends this just mundane sickness or grief which we have, from the basis of our genuine Buddha nature, again, we send out light and visualize it going around the whole globe, and all those who are suffering what we are suffering, may they be freed of that suffering. May they be well, may they be happy. I will take their suffering. And so, again, this is a very skillful way to overcome our ego, our selfish concern with me the whole time. Now I have this problem, I will use this to benefit others. And so in this way, even if, for example, you know, people suffer loss, somebody they really love dies, and so forth, to remember that at this moment in the world, there are hundreds of thousands, millions of people who have lost dear ones and loved ones. We're not the only one. Like Kisa Gotami, right? And the mustard seed, going from house to house, looking for just one house where nobody had ever suffered the loss of their loved ones, and she couldn't find it. Because this is our shared humanity. So to open up the heart at a time when we tend to be most closed, just caught up in our own suffering and not interested in other people's suffering. That's their problem. This is my problem. Actually relieves us, actually opens us up, and is very healing. It actually helps us to overcome our grief and our suffering. So it also is a way to develop on the Bodhisattva path. We are all trying to overcome our ego clinging and to really open up our heart to include all others. And so this is a very practical method for doing this. At first, when we practice, it feels very artificial, normally. And this is why it's advised that you start with somebody you really care about. Because then you can feel more, genuinely, if you think of somebody, your child or your parents or your loved ones suffering, you definitely would like to take their suffering from them and that they might be happy. And you would be willing to suffer in their place. So it's skillful to start with somebody that you care about. But gradually, as we begin to mature in this practice, we can take on and on more and more challenging objects, not just ones that we have a particular attachment towards. I mean, anyone that we see suffering, we can, not only humans, but also animals, we can do this practice of empathy. It's an empathy, recognizing their suffering, and out of compassion wanting to be willing to take that onto ourselves and replace it with relief and with genuine happiness. So this is a very important practice in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, but again, it's not just for Buddhists. Many Catholics that I have taught this to have been very grateful. They find it very helpful, and also Hindus and others. I mean, it's just our human condition. It's not specifically just for Buddhists. It's a very skillful method, not only for, really trying to help others. Often people who practice this, the person who is suffering says that they've somehow, what are you doing? I feel better. It's not that it necessarily cures them, but inwardly they feel better. They feel something good has happened for them. And also people report that in hospital rooms, when doctors or nurses come in, they say, oh, what's been happening here? They feel the change in the atmosphere. Our thoughts have enormous power. We should appreciate that. I think another point is that, we talk a lot about climate change and pollution, and there are these aerial views of the globe and all the heavy pollution areas like Delhi and Beijing. You can see this thick pall over it. But if we could see the psychic pollution, the pollution of all our thoughts and all our emotions, I think that would be much thicker and darker. All the greed, all the violence, all the jealousy, all the aggression, all the selfishness. Think, our thoughts have power. Any of you who have visited, say, Bodh Gaya, or any of the other holy places, despite the chaos outside and around it, when you go inside the enclosure, you just feel this powerful energy there. And so people just love to sit and meditate because it's palpable, you can feel it. It's not just something you make up. I lived for some years near the town of Assisi, which is connected with St. Francis of Assisi. And of course it's a very lovely old Italian medieval city, but there are lots of Italian medieval cities, very nice. But people who go there, despite the commercialism, all the shops and so forth, many people who go there just as tourists. They don't even know who is St. Francis. But there's, again and again, people tell me how they had very powerful spiritual experiences there. Because you can feel it. It's something, you can almost touch it. And likewise, if one goes to a place which is very dark, like I went one time to Auschwitz in Poland, where so many millions of Jews were in the gas chambers. And now it's just rooms, there's nothing there. And yet, you don't have to know what happened there. You can just feel this dark, heavy, sad energy. It's again, you can almost touch it. So, our thoughts, our feelings have a kind of energy there. That's why the Buddha's always shown with that sort of aura, and great saints, because they're radiating this strong feeling of spirituality. Likewise, you can meet people and you just feel their grief. You feel their suffering, or you feel their joy. So what I'm saying is that our thoughts have an energy of their own. And if we think, oh, we're just imagining sending out light and calling in darkness, what use is that? It's a love use. At a deeper level, it really is very, very beneficial. And many people feel it, even they don't know what's happening. They just feel somehow better inside. What are you doing? And at the same time, it's teaching us how to overcome our self-cherishing mind, which is the most important thing any of us can learn in this lifetime. So this is practical compassion, loving kindness, and dealing with the ego, all in one package. So this is a very important practice. And I'd like that at least for a few minutes we could sit and do this. Yes, we have lots of time. I hope that Lekshe will say a few more words after this. But just for 10 minutes, we'll just sit quietly. So what you have to do is just think of somebody, preferably somebody you care about, who is suffering, right? Suffering physically, mentally, psychologically, or whatever reason. They're not happy. They have some problem. And with the in-breath, one visualizes taking all that suffering from them in the form of dark light, which goes through the nostrils down into the center of the heart, where it hits this little, either a black pearl or a deep void of our egotistic self-attachment. And through the power of our compassion, that is instantly transformed. It happens like that. We don't sit with all this darkness inside us. Instantly, it is transformed into this light and love and healthiness, which is the essence of our genuine nature, our Buddha nature. And then that comes out on the out breath. So it all lies on the breath. We don't have to have special pranayama. We don't have to, take deep breaths in and out. Just ordinary breaths, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in the darkness, breathing out the light, and visualizing that person filled with light, filled with health, filled with that inner joy which comes with loving kindness. So if we could all just sit here just for 10 minutes and try to visualize that. And if one feels resistance, then that is a good thing. As with anything, we need to practice this again and again and again. Practice means just that, It's something where you don't usually get just instantly. It takes time to work on this heavy, heavy granite of our egotistic mind. But slowly, slowly we begin to wear it away, and our practice becomes more spontaneous and more genuine. So you sit there now. Do you have a phone? Yes. Fine. You can. Yeah. So 10 minutes and more. So, are there any questions?
sebelum pertanyaan ini ada setelah informasi sedikit ya. Bagi pembawa mobil angkot hitam B161B dan B1744BZD Avanza hitam, mohon kendaraannya dialihkan dulu karena mengganggu jalan. Terima kasih.
Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to ask, usually after back from the retreat or after we hear the Dharma teaching, actually it's easier for us to develop our compassion. But after we are working for like a week, 2 weeks, like the environment is like the energy is really like very bad. Then we start to asking whether are we too naive? This is the reality. We are not true compassion. My question is, how to sustain that kind of compassion? My second question is like what we practice now, like we try to protect others people suffering in our city. I have tried it before, maybe like for a week, 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, like okay, we still can feel it, but after that we will feel like that's very official, like we just try to feel it, but actually we are not feel anything. Then how to sustain it? Thank you very much.
That's a really good question, right? We go away for a retreat and we go away for a special experience and we feel that we've achieved something and our compassion is very high, our energy is very high, and we feel that, you know, we'll just be spiritual forever. And then when we hit reality, sometimes there are all the challenges. And I think everyone experiences this, you're not alone. We've just come from the Sakyadita conference in Jakarta. Many of you were there also. And 1,000 people together from 40 different countries, all over Indonesia. And the energy was so high. The compassion was so intense that everybody was euphoric. Walking around with big smiles on our faces, and we really felt the compassion from each and every person there. And we all had a strong sense that we want to share that compassion, go out into the world, and spread the loving kindness and compassion that we practiced and that we felt there. So now we come back to the real world, and in the real world, it was real. You're absolutely right. It was real. But when we come into our everyday situation, it's a matter of speaking, we find some grumpy people, and some unkind people, and some dishonest people. And they spread rumors about us. And when we are happy, they feel jealous of us, right? So what do we do in that situation? Okay, well, perfect. Here's our opportunity to practice compassion, because these people are unhappy people. If they were happy, they wouldn't need to spread rumors about us. They wouldn't need to speak harshly to others. They wouldn't need to feel jealous. They would be happy in themselves. So obviously they're suffering. They're suffering from their own self-cherishing attitude, suffering from their own jealousy, suffering from their own problems. So that's a perfect opportunity for us. Yay! They gave us a chance to practice compassion. So this is the test. Okay, when we're in a retreat, when we're in a beautiful conference with 1,000 people full of loving kindness, and we come back and we find people who are grumpy and nasty and unhappy, then this is the test. This is the test, okay? This is the exam. How much did we learn? Was it just, were we just faking? No, now's the time we have to practice loving kindness for those very people who are suffering from, even no matter how much money they have, no matter how much education they have, no matter how many opportunities they have. Obviously, they're immersed in their own suffering. So that's the perfect time to share our loving kindness and compassion with them. So if we see, just as you're saying, take every obstacle as an opportunity for practice, that's our opportunity. So let's share our compassion and loving kindness for those people. The fact that they spread rumors, unkind, untrue rumors about us, who cares, right? The important thing is, can we keep our Dharma mind? Can we keep our compassion? Can we keep our mindfulness? Can we keep our loving kindness? So it's a challenge and it's a great opportunity.
Should we go into the question and answer, or is there anything that we need? Okay. Kalau ada lagi kepada rekan sedang silahkan. Tolong sebutkan nama dan langsung diajukan pertanyaannya. Terima kasih.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Julia, and continuing her question actually, the opportunity slash the method itself, the practice, how often do we have to practice it? Do we have to practice it once we get the opportunity slash obstacle, or we just have to practice it every day? Or since we are just a regular person, not as ordained or such thing. That's just the question. Thank you.
So if you mean the Tonglen practice, then it's good to do like 5 minutes every morning, just so that one keeps it going, so that when one does come across the opportunity of seeing someone in suffering or in any unfortunate circumstances, that it will come spontaneously. You don't have to sit there thinking, now what was it? I breathed in the light and I sent out the darkness. No, that's wrong. Etc. You know what to do. And there are always people who are suffering that we can call to mind. So it's good, not too long, 5 minutes, but every day in order to practice, right? We have to get our fingers flexible. We have to get our mental attitude flexible.
Ada lagi? Oke. Berikutnya silakan. Ya.
My name is Florian.
Berdiri. Stand up, berdiri silakan. Lion. Our little brother.
My name is Florian. What is compatible? Compassion.
Pakai bahasa Indonesia aja boleh? Silahkan.
Itu belas kasih.
What is compassion?
Compassion is wishing to relieve all the sufferings of all beings. Take away all their suffering. And the next step is loving kindness, to make them happy, to bring them happiness.
Oke, berikutnya silakan. Di situ ya.
Morning. Thank you for the opportunity. This is an extension to the first two questions. You mentioned that bad things happen to good people like yourself, where people talk bad about you during the retreat the other time, and you practice compassion towards them. But what if they still don't change their views? What should we do? Just continue practicing our compassion, but nothing changes in them. So, what's going forward? Thank you.
I think that we can't change other people. we can really only change ourselves. Now, changing our own attitude, getting rid of our own self-cherishing attitude is a full-time job. It's so much easier to look at other people's faults, but we don't have time. We need to concentrate on the one thing that we can change, which is our own mind, right? So that's why this method of transforming all obstacles to the path is so precious, because it makes us, instead of letting us get entangled in other people's drama, other people's craziness, other people's unhappiness, which is so easy to do. We see it around us all the time. You know, unhappy people have a habit of creating drama, and they suck people into their drama. And you can even start to think that it's real. But we don't have time for that, because sentient beings are suffering. The world is in a big mess. We have to do what we can to improve the situation. So we have to just drop it, no matter what they say about us. And it's really sad, because this kind of negativity is toxic and it's contagious. If one person in a group is really negative and toxic, some people seem to get infected by that. And before, if they're not mindful, if they're not aware, they can also get sucked into the drama. But I feel that we can't afford to let ourselves get sucked into that kind of negativity. We, as Buddhists, need to be examples that peace and compassion work. If we meditate on compassion, if we generate loving kindness, we're definitely going to be happier people. It's a challenge. We have to work at it. It's not automatic, but it works. And we can see it in people that practice.
Oke, setelah baju merah mungkin nanti ada yang dari depan ya, dari depan gantian kita, silakan.
Ada yang dari bati salah luar boleh.
Oh, oke, silakan Pak. Habis itu ya.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Robert. Thank you for coming to Indonesia. When you say practicing taking suffering in, sometimes we know, like a friend or a family member is suffering. They wouldn't tell us what is their suffering. How do we visualize what kind of suffering taking?
Well, I don't think one needs necessarily be specific. If one knows that, for example, a family member or someone one's close to is suffering, that means presumably mentally suffering, because physical suffering you'd know about. So if they are mentally suffering, even if one doesn't specifically know what their problem is, one can nonetheless visualize taking that mental suffering in on oneself in the form of this dark energy, because it's this dark energy which is creating their pain. And so it works whether one is being very specific about what the problem is, or if just in general one knows that there is a darkness there is a problem there, then just visualize that one is receiving that into oneself. That would be enough.
Oke, silahkan.
Saya cari yang dari sebelah kanan dulu ya, karena banyak sekali nih.
Oke, this good
silakan.
Meaning very enthusiastic. Bagus sekali ya. Silakan. Namanya, langsung ke pertanyaan.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Nana, and I would like to ask two questions. The first one is about Tonglen. Is it normal to just imagine someone you care in front of you and do the Tonglen? We know sometimes it just happens only in our mind, but sometimes, I don't know, it touched my heart too. So, and it makes me confused. It feels so artificial, but it feels so true, and I don't know what is the guideline. And number two, the question is, I'm just wondering if both of you didn't be a nun, what kind of life will you go through? No, I'm just wondering. Okay.
To your first question, I think I would recommend that you fake it till you make it. Yeah, fake it till you make it. Like if generating loving kindness and compassion doesn't feel completely natural at first, that's no surprise because it takes time to get over the self-cherishing attitude and really generate compassion for others. But as we practice it, it gets easier and easier. So in the beginning, it may feel that we're just pretending, but as we do it again and again, it'll become natural, right? There was even a Tibetan Lama who used to say, if you're not enlightened, pretend you're enlightened. Yeah, so that's, yeah, it's a good way to go through life. What's the alternative? To go through life being miserable? What's the point of that? Okay, and the other question for me is that I did everything before I became a nun. So I lived out all my fantasies and now I'm a nun, I'm very happy.
Oke, ada lagi? Silakan.
Yang di corner nggak ada. Kita masuk lagi ke dalam.
Ya, ke dalam lagi ya. Baju kotak-kotak dari tadi nanya. Ya.
Thank you. Jetsunma Tenzin Palmo, happy birthday. It's a late wish, but I want to ask you, both of you, in the Tibetan tradition, we have so many different topics and meditations to do. One teacher comes and says, do this every day for 5 minutes, and then you came and told me to do Tongan every day for 5 minutes, and then we have 10 teachers who says the same, and it gets confusing which practice should they definitely do daily. So how to structure our daily meditation practice? That's what I do.
Yes, well, of course, it is. The Tibetan tradition is a bit like a Dharma supermarket. You know, there's so much on display. What shall I choose? I always think it's very important, especially for people nowadays who have such busy lives, that we choose a practice which is, my Lama, it's not just my opinion, my Lama, he said to me, make your practice short and simple, but do it. And I think that that's the point. If we take on too many commitments, if we're too ambitious,